Welcome, everyone, to our closeout happy hour residency. I'm Troy Martin, co-founder of Black Film Club Chicago. I'm sitting here with my co-host.
Hey, I am Chinyere Chi, and I am the other half of Black Film Club Chicago.
So you all are here to celebrate a residency closeout with us today. We spent the last 6 months here at Guild Row, experimenting, curating, programming for this group. We're so grateful for that opportunity. And also, we're just celebrating this idea of just Black film and all the great things happening in the Chicagoland area. The Independent Film Expo conference is here. We were actually graced the opportunity to present with them, and then as well as Sundance Institution is in town. So.
Yes.
Luther Vandross has a film coming out this weekend, a preview one. So if y'all
never too much,
yes,
never too much.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, like, you on it? So we just want to thank y'all for coming out here, and
Okay, all right. Well, I'm glad to be in the room with you, wonderful people. For those who do not know me, I am Brittany Bowie of Brit Be Living. Brit Be Living is a branded platform of lifestyle and culture. I interview cool people doing really great things to impact their communities, such as Chi and Troy. And then I also highlight great events. So I'm super duper excited to get to have a little friendly conversation with my friends here today. But I also want y'all to join in. This is for the community. So y'all got to ask some questions towards the end. But yeah, we'll get started. Okay.
Yeah.
So again, this is Black Film Club Chicago. So that sounds like a little bit of FUBU for us, by us, right?
a little bit.
So for our people.
So.
Tell me what Black Film Club Chicago is. Who is it for? What are y'all doing? We need to know that.
Okay, well, let me start out with that part. Black Film Club Chicago is a organization, Black-owned, operated organization that's dedicated to amplifying and showcasing Black cinema arts. And we do that through curated experiences throughout the city, and it's rooted in community. So that is us in a nutshell.
Okay. All right. And so, Black Film Club is a partnership. So tell me a little bit about how this partnership came to be.
Yeah, that's such a fun story. So I was on one side of town hosting an event around film. Troy was on the other side. So I was on the south side at a friend's house. Troy, you were
On the west side.
On the west side at a friend's house. And we were discussing, oh my gosh, why is this escaping
Queen
me
and
right?
Slim.
Queen and Slim, how could I
A
forget that?
controversial movie, for
Yes,
sure.
Yeah, it was just really inspiring to see those bodies and just see the way that story was portrayed. And so it was just an opportunity for conversation to happen, for us to, I feel like I'm missing a point in the story, actually. So I'm having the conversation on the south side. Troy's having the conversation on the west side. And then I was also doing influencing at Dill Pickle Co-op Chicago. And Troy, you were on the board.
I was actually on the board.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Always doing something.
Yeah, it was bananas. It was bananas. And so he was on the board and we were like, wait, you look familiar. He invited me to his first event, and immediately I was like, man, this is really wonderful. It's a vibe. It was at Art West Chicago, Art Gallery. I was like, oh, this is super awesome. This is how I envision conversations. Let me know if you all need support. And
fast forward, I needed support.
Okay.
Yeah, fast forward, I did have somebody, which is the original co-founder. She was actually helping me create Black Film Club at its infancy. But, life took her away in some other directions, so we allowed her to be great. And so I had to table the actual organization for a bit, but she responded so well to the initial, reaction when we had our first live event.
Okay.
She always stuck out in my head, and we worked together in other capacities at the store.
Yeah.
So I just sat her down over coffee in Logan Square, and I was
funny.
like, hey, are you interested in running the club with me?
And she agreed, clearly.
She
Oh,
agreed.
yeah, I agree. I had been hosting events around Chicago, and my desire was always to host events that allow people to communicate and connect. I literally, Sean, our DJ, is in the house, and he has We Love Soul. I would literally, on New Year's Eve, he throws this really dope pre-New Year's Eve party. I would set up a whole board with Post-it notes and wanting to connect community. And so when it was like, oh, it just felt like a yes, because I was like, wait, you host community and have conversation and use film as a catalyst? Be still my heart. Let's go.
Okay.
Let's go.
Okay. So you guys, there was already, similar likes and desires to build this space and have community. You obviously were already doing that in your own respective ways, and then you came together. So obviously, you're here in Guild Row. You're building Black Film Club Chicago. Is there more space for more people within the community? And what does that look like?
So yes, I definitely think there is more space for this. I think prior to Black Film Club Chicago, we have institutions around Black film and like the cultural arts, but like we do have 2 annual film festivals here currently, Excel and then Black Harvest Film Festival. But I don't think we actually had one defined area for just the Black film community who might just be fans or critics or just like appreciators of the art. So without this one, we didn't really have a place to gather, or if people came in town, we didn't have that space, right? So like even the connection of B-Roll Cinema, shout out to Stephanie Watts, who is here in town right now, curating the Philadelphia Club when she decided to come in town for this conference, the Indie Film Conference. She had a connection to the city, right? Because she could connect with us. So yeah, I definitely think there's more space for more curation, more events around people who are interested in film. I think we're just really the icing. I think we just hit the icing of incubation of it, really.
Okay, all right, that's good. Yeah. Well, yes, you want to welcome more people into this space, but is there a need for protection of our spaces? Whether it's in film, whether it's just in the other spaces where we are building community, do we need to protect that?
It's funny because when Troy and I were talking through like, what are certain points we want to articulate and highlight? When we got to protection, we started just thinking, what does that mean? What does protection mean for our culture and our what is of interest to us? And I think back to the conversation we had yesterday and our talk back over at the Indie Film Exhibition Conference. That's a long name. One of the things that people were impressed by is the fact that we're showing films. We're like doing a repeat of certain films, but now they're making a resurgence again. And one of the things I think about when I hear protection and I think about what it means to protect, I think about it from more of how we pass down information and how that information is important to be passed down. That it's not just about, we're watching this film because it makes us feel good, but there's certain films that have stories and like how to build legacies. I'm thinking about Daughters of the Dust, and films like that. And I do think when I think of the word protection, I think about preservation. Like preserving and holding, and maybe they mean the same things, but that's what I think about. And I do think that there is value in doing that and holding spaces that are affinity specific.
No, that's a good way to put it, because yes, protecting our legacies and film and entertainment of all sorts, particularly in the Black community, our art is our legacy. So making sure that is being, safeguarded is very real. Yeah. So, Troy, you had something else?
Yeah, I'll add to that. And I'll just say, I think it's extremely important to also define spaces too, and make sure we have just like Black spaces to talk about certain films, because designated spaces, because sometimes our art is nuanced, right? Like we do have things that maybe our counterparts aren't as familiar with, that we just might get that's an inside joke, right? Or
they don't get it because they're not like us,
right? Or just things or just issues that we might deal with in the industry as like filmmakers, photographers, just people in the arts communities, gatekeeping, all of these like expectations that we are expected to just navigate that aren't necessarily there as barriers, for everyone else. So I think it's also on us to be important and just be unapologetically like firm in the sense of like, hey, this is a Black space. Like we're open to participation, and if you want to come be a part of the experience, we welcome that, but we aren't necessarily compromising what we do Like
Speak
this,
on it.
we are here to archive and create and preserve this art, you know, and talk about it. And if you want to be a part of that conversation, cool.
Oh, that's a good way to put it. So glad to hear that you guys understand that Black Film Club Chicago is doing that designation and safeguarding. So, well, yes. Okay, so we're here in this very beautiful space. I think the folks around can see it's very, I don't know, it's giving like restoration hardware inside of here. So loving this look.
Yeah.
But tell us how you guys actually came to be here. So you just completed your 6 months residency. You've been doing events out of this space, welcoming folks. How did the residency come to be? What has it given to you guys? And where are you going to go?
Okay, well, I'll start with how I came to be, and then maybe you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so how I came to be, she is a person that has lived 10 lives. She does it all. She's currently in her DJing space.
Okay.
Phase of lifestyle. So she was actually doing an event here.
Okay.
She was DJing. We was actually coming off of a program that we did with Black Harvest Film Festival last year during the 29th anniversary. It was a panel around just struggles as creators and like how to overcome those as Black filmmakers. And we were just actually kind of like recapping and toasting to it. We hosted a happy hour, but it happened to be another film screening here happening at the same time. And actually, I was able to connect with the programmer here. Her name is Candace, who actually runs the Guild Road residency. And I think just through a general conversation with her, she got to discover what we were doing, and she saw some of the work we were doing and how we were kind of curating and cultivating this experience in this community. And it just felt like a win-win and a no-brainer. So she reached out to us, you know, shortly later that week, and the rest was history. We were a part of the first cohort.
Yeah, well, congrats to you guys. I mean, it has to feel nice to be seen and to feel valued. Sure. But shout out to you guys for the last 6 months.
Yeah, you know, this space, I could show you all a picture. It was on my vision board. And part of why, like a part of why, and it didn't look exactly like this. It was a picture of Talib Kweli standing DJing, but it was like a hardware industrial look space, and it was beautiful people. No lie, I could take a picture of it and show it to you. It was beautiful people like yourself sitting and like communicating with each other and talking and like vibing, engaging. And it was in that I approached Guild Row and I said, hey, I want to DJ. You know, I can't play loud music at my house, so let me, I'll come and like DJ, just let me have the space. And they did, and Troy came, and that's like, I was a member here for co-working, but I just was like, man, this is a dope space. I want to DJ here, and the rest is history.
This is a bit of synergy on both ends.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
you called it to yourself. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what has this experience truly given to you both, like as curators, as artists, creatives, and then to Black Film Club as an organization? And answer whichever part you want.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I just talked.
Okay. Go pass it back. Ooh, yeah. Right. I would say, man, this residency has made me such a better, I would say, curator. More open to different ideas, just a better collaborator. And just, I would also say it's given me, I guess almost like a level of, I don't know if security is the right word, but just confidence in myself and the work, just from the consistency of putting it out there. And I feel like we've been able to, not to say perfect, but we've definitely been able to fine tune the community and our place in it as curators, and just being a conduit to it in a different space. So when we leave here, I think we're coming out in a much more grounded, seasoned way, in the way that we think about just like delivering, you know, like a service to like our community.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I echo everything you said, and I also feel the sense of engaging with community in a new way and like having a consistent place. Before this residency, we used to travel and go to different places to do it, and we would have to activate and pull all the things together. If we wanted pretty plants, we had to bring in the pretty plants. If we wanted it to have a certain feel, we had to bring it in. So it was really nice to gift ourselves an opportunity to just do what we love and be creatives and not have to also be like decorators, interior designers, and all the things.
You just got to show up.
Yeah,
and do.
we just got to show up and do. And we have some moving that we have to do, but it felt really good to like just be curators in a certain way. And I think in addition to being what you spoke of and all the ways that we showed up, but it's made us organized as fuck. Like, is it okay to curse?
Right.
Like, it's made us really organized. I feel like we've really grown up, even in our communication. We talk pretty much every day, and we're usually working in the morning, like early in the morning to late in the evening, you know. But it's felt so good. It's felt so aligned, and it's been this opportunity to really kind of grow up, you know, grow up.
That operating thing is real. I feel like as creatives, some in the audience, you know, or just like building anything, sometimes you can get lost in the operations, and it takes away that space that you have to just experimentally think about ideas.
The creative part.
Right, because you got to make sure things get, you know, build right, build the budget, move this, make sure.
Being the whole team instead of.
Right. So this gave us more space to really live in that creative energy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you guys are glowing as you speak about it. Yeah. So I'm glad to see that it really has turned out for you that way.
Yeah.
So
it's good.
Okay, well, obviously you've had this 6 months in the residency. There's a lot that the future holds for the organization. What exactly are some of those things? Like, where can the people see you? What's happening next? So
over on the table to the left, there's a QR code that you can sign up for. We have a QR code if you want to sign up for emails about our upcoming events, but some of the events we have coming up really soon with someone sitting over here is our Brownsville Winery Brunch on July 20th. We're screening High on the Hog. We just had some conversations yesterday that I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to give it all, but there might be some guest appearances, but we shall see. But at any rate, we'll have a panel discussion, and our friends over at Semicolon, they're presenting their single story aged bourbon there, and we're looking forward to hosting that on July 20th. And
and then also we have a Chicago-based local director film showcase coming August 17th. So that's with all our local filmmakers across the city. We've done a film intake. We've done the review. It was tough. We got one of our friends who's a filmmaker and reviewer in the audience, Addison. He was there with us, helping us get through the process, collaborating with our friend. I'm blanking out on her name. Danielle Scott of Black Women Directors. She's also been very influential in helping us go through that process. So really excited about that. And also we'll be at Sisters in Cinema, new Media Arts Center, which is on the South Side.
South Shore.
Shout out to the South Side.
So make sure everyone checks that out. So really proud of that. That's our first venture into curation of just like an independent space of like projects. And then I know you had a second part to that, like where do you see the future? I think I think also through this Guild Road residency, it's given us a newfound identity in what we are capable of, and just from the experimentation of just working with so many people, I think we are moving in a space where we are in a phase of becoming a cinema culture agencies, cinema arts culture agencies. So we want to make sure that we are available to be collaborators and influencers with everybody that works in the space, whether it's the cultural arts or whether it's film related, and like using us to kind of like help curate that space around film, because we're really, as curators, we use film as our muse and a conduit to build community. That's where it all started, right?
Conversation.
So, if people are interested in this, or they want to get connected to the city in a different way, and they want to use, this art form, talk to us. That's what we're doing.
So you're building the community and you're growing it. So
exactly.
That's what we want to see. So that is wonderful. Well, it has truly been a pleasure to learn more about you guys, Black Film Club Chicago. a few more questions before we'll definitely dive into anything the audience wants to know from you all.
Okay.
But yes, okay, so we're here in Chicago. We have this beautiful city, all these wonderful things. So I want to hear about what you love about Chicago. Tell me a little bit about, let me see, your favorite movie that's set in this beautiful city.
I think that one of the films I saw most recently, if I may, I don't want to give too much of a spoiler, but how many of you all are familiar with Douglas Park?
Yes.
Douglas with double S. Mm-hmm. Well, there's a school in Chicago that the young people at that school, I think they were like middle schoolers, 6th, 7th, 8th, they protested, rallied, and went to legislation to get the name changed because they thought it was Frederick Douglass, but it turned out it was someone who I believe had like a problematic past. I don't quite recall which problem, but one of them. But they worked to get it changed, and that happened like around the pandemic. And I thought that was so inspiring. I was like, because I too thought it was Frederick Douglass Park, but it actually was not. And now the double S represents Douglass and what it means to us in our culture. So that to me was a beautiful film that was based out of Chicago, about Chicago, and a place that I frequented. I just went to that park a couple of weeks ago. So yeah.
I'll add that to the Netflix queue or something.
Yeah.
So
For me, I'm just gonna go with a classic. And we just had an event recently. I would say Love Jones has always been a rap.
the soundtrack hits.
Yeah, the soundtrack is completely fire.
Mm-hmm.
But also I think just like that kind of like energy around the 90s, the intellectual, the poeticness. I think our club definitely takes elements from that. And the way that we approach curation and just trying to make it like a sophisticated energy, but still fun, you know? And so I think I always lean and I take things from that when I think about it. And maybe that's just trying to like, recreate some form of that magic in like 2020, in this 2020 era, right?
Okay. Yeah. That nostalgia, but it felt different. So it felt a little warmer. So.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys are on the hot seat for a little bit longer because we're going to turn it around to the crowd. And if there's any questions, folks want to hear from these two, by all means, chime in. So.
Why film? There's filmmakers, actors, actresses.
Good question.
Great question. That's a good question. Yeah, I would say honestly, I was just a fan. I grew up with film. From the sense of like my parents watched a lot of movies, and even like aunts and uncles. Like I just vividly remember like I was watching all kind of stuff, like dramatic stuff, just comedies. And I didn't know them, but really they was really planting seeds, and I was being like indoctrinated into this idea of just watching different stuff. And I don't think they even knew it. They just really enjoyed watching movies, and so like definitely around the holidays we come in and we just like literally the TV, like outside of like the TV that might have sports on it, it'd be like a movie all
back to back. Okay, it was always
like
a matinee.
Everybody's watching it.
So, okay.
And then like just going to the movies, constantly seeing all kind of stuff. Like to this day, like my dad, he still goes to the movies by himself to just see stuff.
Okay.
So I think it was planted in me early, even though I was necessarily not pushed into this art form to say, oh, like I had an interest in it. Because I think my parents are like older and they was like, hey, like how you gonna pay bills, brother? Like, you know what I mean? So I think that also, as I became an adult, I started to tap back into that interest and that love of just enjoying film. And it led me to this space of starting this club, which has led us to this place now of it really, just connecting.
Return to your passion. So
Right. There it is.
Your passion. Yes.
With the job.
Can't be mad at that. So
I'm a fan of film as well. I did act a little bit in my other 9 lives. I was.
So she number 3.
Yeah,
okay.
that was she number 3. Okay. I did act a little bit, but again, I went to school for sociology because I love gathering people, and I was initially going to go for psychology because I like also diving in and talking to people, and I just felt like this was a great medium to have conversation, bring people into connection, and also use cinema to do that, because a lot of the topics that cinema inspires are usually somewhat an exaggeration or a spot on of what we have dealt with in some kind of way. And it's like, why, if we're not ready to talk about our own lives, we can rally around soul food and be like, that was bogus. Why did you sleep with that? Like we can do that. So that's pretty much kind of how it was started and what inspired us to do it, or me to do it.
I think, to answer it, because I just gave my origin, but to answer the question, the visualization of film, I think is a lot. I think it's just a common ground. Like, people, sometimes we don't like to read, but I think the visualization of it, like, everybody's seen a music video, everybody's seen something visual, right? You can watch a reel, we can watch a 7-minute clip of something and connect with it. And that's what I like about it. Like, you can watch it and immediately have an opinion, right? I'm just saying, let's talk about it. Or if you have it, it's okay to talk about it. So
That's a good way to put it. Okay. That was a great question. We have another one back here.
Yeah.
Ooh, okay.
Thank you. So, what does art mean to you? Because, Troy, you talked about the passions, like you talked about the past. So, art, I think, is a creation of that. So, what does it mean to you? Because it seems like you're creating art now with like a little Chicago, you're an artist in both visuals.
if you looked at me, I gotta start. Okay.
Was this question for both of us or Troy? Okay. Can you repeat the question?
What does art mean to you?
Oh, what does art mean to me? Art means being able to freestyle in the moment what God is expressing through us. Being able to tap into the deep. Being able to tap in even when we're awake or when we're asleep. Art is this opportunity to color the world with life, with expression, with beauty. To me, art is everything. Everything is artful to me. Like, literally, I appreciate art for that. Being inspiring, being God, being good, being all things. So that's what art means.
That was a word. That was a word. Okay.
Let me just say, I ain't gonna beat that one.
It's not a competition.
I mean,
Let it inspire you.
I'll keep it. Yeah, I'll keep it brief. I mean, art to me, honestly, is just anything that sparks or creates a feeling. You're right. Like, I think whether it's good food, or if it's a bad film or a bad project, or maybe a good piece like a painting. I think anything that creates some type of feeling, whether it's good or bad or indifferent, I think that's art to me. And I think that's what I lean into when I think about it. I think having a conversation around, even a cocktail is art, right? Like how Chi said, I think there's
conversation starters.
Right. You can find anything. And when it's a really good one, you're like, this is art. You know what I mean? Like, versus or this is just a trash one. You're like, yo, what's happening here,
True,
right?
True.
I think art is just like, anything that forces you to feel something. Right. And I think we can apply it, as Chi said so elegantly, in like all our areas of our life, Okay. So
art is life.
Art is life.
Life informs art. So.
I keep looking at the plant from planting, from putting our hands in soil, to cooking, to sitting, to me, art is just
so we're all artists. We're all creating.
Yes.
Everyone should feel empowered then from that.
Yes, please do.
You a life coach too, Chi?
Yes. Sometimes.
Okay.
So in my other life.
She be gathering.
She number 4. Okay.
She number 4.
Were there any other questions? I feel like, okay. Oh, we got a few. Okay. Oh, y'all gonna be on the hot seat.
This is from everybody on the panel. Have you ever saw a movie or a show that was this type of genre was switched to a different genre but still the same movie or show?
Like the film or show we're watching, multiple genres in one.
You saw like a movie was supposed to be a horror movie and switched on kind of comedy.
Right.
And you saw it. How do you think?
Like, nope.
I was gonna say Jordan Peele. I was gonna say Us. Or them was not.
I think it's subjective.
Okay,
Yeah,
I think it's subjective. Or Get Out rather, but
yeah,
okay.
I would even say Queen and Slim. Like that movie has like 5 genres if you think about it. It started off as a very traumatic drama, but then there's honestly a romance story in there.
True.
And then there's also a story about interfamily relationships, and then it's a story about racism, right? And just issues that we deal with in our community. I feel like they blurred the lines of a lot. And then it almost had, if you think about it, it's almost artistic like dialogue happening. It almost became like kind of poetic too, just in the conversations. I think that's why I connected with the movie so much, because it covered a lot of ground. And we can debate the ending all day, right? Like people get upset, whatnot. But like, I think I look for things like that, all right, I'm going in with one idea and then it's like 8, I have 10 emotions when I walk out of it, right? And I think that's like, all right, that's like something that's special to me.
Okay. No, that's good. Good. For sure. So,
First and foremost, congratulations on a successful residency.
Appreciate it.
I know you guys talked about your favorite films, but I'm curious, so I was looking for new films to watch. What's a film or films that you tend to recommend to people that, maybe they haven't seen a lot of films or they're just looking for something new? Could you share anything that, you would recommend that I go home and watch after this?
Ooh.
I think if you want a lighthearted experience, I thought the film Zola was really good. I have posed that.
I know
film.
the Twitter story. I still haven't seen the film, but
it's
a ride, all right.
It's a ride. It's a ride, but the reason why, I say lighthearted because it is based off of a true story, but the thing I appreciated about it was the fact that they used social media in that way. And it was just insightful about the power of social media to tell stories, to draw people into where people were so engaged in this story that it almost seemed like fiction, So it was just interesting. And I think that, I don't know, it was something there for me, being someone who has done influencing in one of my other lives, and the power of social media and engagement and where we're going. I don't know. It was just really inspiring to me. So that would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Ladies first.
Ooh, what am I suggesting? Oh, I'm on the panel now.
Yes, you are.
The interviewer, not the interviewee. You said a movie for sure. It was kind of an answer to your question, but a movie that I love and that I go back to is Big Fish. It is not a Black movie per se, although there are Black people in the movie, but it really weaves the idea that our stories are more fantastic than we might think. And so it has a son and a father's relationship, and you really see the son is just like, oh, my dad's always been telling all these big tales. That really wasn't his life. And then it comes to be towards the tail end of his dad's life, like, no, all of this happened in the various ways that they did. And so I love that idea, sort of like Chi and her 9 lives here, is that all these different versions of us, how they come to be in play. I don't know, I just love it. So that's one that is on like top 10 of my favorite movies. So I would definitely recommend that. So.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just gonna throw in a classic Spike Lee, She's Gotta Have It. I would say if you haven't seen that, visit that. Hey, I think it's just kind of cool to watch a movie shot in like black and white. Like, I think that's kind of like exposure to our culture. We can think of like I think we look down sometimes at like some of the older films in black and white, but I think that was genius for Spike Lee to shoot this and that way. And then also, it's just kind of cool. I think that was probably one of the first movies I've seen, like with the like woman like protagonist who is essentially doing whatever she wants.
She was leading the way.
And she had it on lock, and she was moving exactly how she wanted to, right? Like that whole double standard of how like men have been able to do this our entire life, and she's just doing it on her own accord and her own terms. So I just thought that was like really genius to kind of do that, and it's just a fresh perspective, and it's a fun movie, and it's honestly, it's just kind of fun to like hear like all the different protagonists, and like because I feel like we all know these people, in our life, except seeing it from a woman lens. I think that's like kind of cool, seeing it
flipped it on its head. I was like, I know we have one more at least.
We'll take it back and say congrats on the residency. Thank you. I want to know what you're talking about.
Speaking to the mic.
What you mean?
It's just the mic for the camera.
Oh, sorry about that.
But project, right?
So the question I want to ask is, if you could place a genre in black film, a core film, what would that be?
If you could place a genre on,
I like feeling in general.
oh,
So you all
That-
like,
yeah.
you all can see it play, like, if it was one genre that you chose.
I had to choose. Oh, okay.
okay.
No, you can lead though.
Yeah, is independent a genre? Not really.
Genres like romance.
Oh. Well, I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna listen to what Troy said.
So I need a moment.
If I had to go with a genre, I would just categorize us as experimental.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to box us in because we don't play in that space. You know, even though the club, the community, the atmosphere has a feeling to it. I think we experiment in a lot of different areas as curators, and so I would just definitely call us an experimental. Like if I wanted to give us a genre when I think about it.
Okay.
I'm gonna piggyback off of what he said. So there. No, that was real. It's all encompassing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Trying new things, and I like it. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it fits me and my minimal film knowledge here. So, were there any more questions? Okay, right here.
Hi.
Hey.
How do you see the film club evolving in the future?
That's a good question.
You know, I think as we settle in more into the space and just the broader cultural arts community, because I think they've embraced us, you know, in a lot of different capacities. I see us kind of bridging the gap and, you know, and connecting us, you know, people interested, you know, in movies or just interested in community, and maybe they think this is a good way to engage. Or I see us gaining more of a footing to give people access to like maybe museums and gallery spaces, and really just being kind of a lifeline to people who might have interest but feel like it's too far away to touch, and making that accessible, like at a different level. I think I see us moving towards that space of really kind of being a conduit between some of these, I guess we would call higher institutions, right? And just really kind of like opening the doors for just, you know, more of a grounded idea around some of this programming, because
and giving access to some of the film houses that come out, these distributors that will come out with films that we want to see, and we want films like this, but we don't know that they're coming out, or they're at a theater that, again, I appreciated our friends over at Be Real speaking on this even yesterday, saying, Stephanie was just mentioning, like, there are times films will come out, people want to see them, but they're not accessible, they're not around us. And so just bringing film and culture together is the way that I see our future. Bringing us into dope-ass spaces like Guild Row, that's our future. Giving us access to places where we can connect and commune and convene with each other in a way that not only inspires us to be there, to hang out, but also to activate and leave saying, man, that was a great conversation. Let me go out and continue on to dinner. Let me go out and continue on to hang out with these people because they share the same values or views or visions that I see for myself. So,
You got a good head start. So,
like a great hookup spot.
oh, we got another question.
Hey,
what up?
When people think about independent film, they always put it to New York and LA. But there's so much life and so much excellence in between those two cities. So I'm wondering, for you all, what do you want to be like Chicago's mark on film, or the same thing Chicago puts on independent film? And what makes Chicago stand out from New York or LA when it comes to film consumption, film production, everything around the ecosystem? Like, what do you feel Chicago can bring that New York and LA cannot? Because there are things that y'all can definitely do. But I'm not from here, so I would love to hear.
I mean, so one of the things, I've been to LA and I've been in and around that scene. And there is like, it was funny because I had brought my camera because I am another life, did photography for a little bit. But anyway, so I brought my camera, and it was so interesting how everyone, or the perception that I walked away with from that experience was that it's such a comfortability about being in front of the camera that sometimes when you're behind the camera trying to have an engaging conversation with someone, it feels a little forced or false in a way that I feel like Chicago feels so real. It's like when we talk to each other, we have this realness, we have this like connection. So when we're in front of the camera, what you see is what you get. Like, that's one of the things I appreciate about Chicago is this vibe of like, what you see is what you get. New York offers the culture. They give you the same, to me, my experience has been, New York gives you that, that creative aesthetic of being open and like here and ready and available. Again, I love Chicago because it offers space. It offers the spaciousness to be and to find your creative, to lean into it, and to have an audience that's willing to rock with you because you're from Chicago. Chicago loves deep, Chicago loves hard, and Chicago is ...
Yeah,
I love that. Okay.
To add to that, because I love where you were going. I think Chicago has, it's a historic city. It's I want to say probably the third oldest city in the United States. Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it's like New York and Boston and then us. And then, so I think there's a ton of untold history, just untold stories. And I think the Midwest has always had a chip on our shoulder, even though Chicago has been like our beacon, right? I feel like it's always had a chip on our shoulder and we have so much to offer. And I think our independent market is thriving here and is also, in my opinion, in a renaissance space where we host over 50 independent film festivals here.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Currently, and it's still growing with more. And I think there's a ton of creative talent and stories and just different perspectives that we haven't heard, even from documents to just narratives that LA and New York, they've done right already on their lifestyle in the East. I feel like the Midwest is finally getting a chance to have that stadium, and I think it's wide open because Chicago again is also a very grounded city in the sense of it is Midwest, so
yes, we're not pretentious.
We are, yeah. So it's a different openness to like experience that when you come here. If you want to come here and make a film, you can find a community to do it.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think that's what Chicago's going to bring: a different perspectives, a different openness, and just a hunger to really be in the space and grow, like, you know, as like independent creators.
That's good. That's a good way. These have been extremely wonderful questions. So I feel like we definitely have some filmmakers, some artists, some curators in this room. So that is lovely. Well, I just want to say thank you again to Troy and Chief for allowing me to, one, get my Gayle King on and ask y'all a few questions, but to welcome us into this space with you. So it has been lovely. Again, congratulations. And then let's mingle. Let's hang out, friends.
Hey.